Let's start with something interesting. Inventions that were banned for being too advanced. Number 1. Nuclear technology. Some inventions were restricted because they were controversial. Nuclear technology was restricted because it could end the world. When scientists first unlocked the atom in the early 20th century, they weren't trying to build a weapon. They were exploring physics, chasing equations about energy and matter. But inside those equations was something unprecedented: the ability to release more power from a single reaction than humanity had ever controlled before. Then came 1945. 2 atomic bombs. 2 cities erased in seconds. The explosion wasn't just destructive, it was transformative. It showed that one invention could wipe out tens of thousands of lives instantly, flatten infrastructure, poison the environment, and permanently alter global politics. Humanity had entered an era where extinction was no longer theoretical. But nuclear technology wasn't only about bombs. The same atomic process could generate electricity. Nuclear power plants offered massive energy output with no fossil fuel combustion. A single uranium fuel pellet could produce as much energy as tons of coal. It promised a cleaner, more efficient future. And yet, the danger never disappeared. Accidents like Chernobyl and Fukushima proved that when nuclear containment fails, consequences stretch across decades. Radiation is invisible, odorless, and relentless. It contaminates soil, water, and human DNA without immediate warning. At the same time, nations built nuclear arsenals large enough to destroy civilization many times over. The Cold War turned nuclear weapons into political leverage. Entire treaties were written to prevent their spread. Global diplomacy began revolving around deterrence. Nuclear technology wasn't fully banned, but it was never allowed to be free. Strict regulations, international inspections, arms control agreements, constant monitoring. Because this wasn't just another invention. It was the first technology capable of powering the planet, or ending it. Maximum energy, maximum destruction. Too powerful to be free. Number 2. Genetic designer babies, germline editing. For the first time in history, humans gained the ability to edit the code of life itself, not just treat disease, rewrite inheritance. Germline editing allows scientists to alter DNA in embryos in ways that become permanent. These changes don't affect just one person. They pass down to every future generation that follows. One edit today could echo through bloodlines forever. This isn't science fiction. Using tools like CRISPR, researchers can cut and replace specific sections of genetic code with increasing precision. In theory, this could eliminate inherited diseases such as cystic fibrosis or sickle cell anemia before a child is even born. It promises prevention instead of treatment. But the power doesn't stop there. If genes linked to illness can be edited, what about genes linked to height, intelligence, physical traits, athletic potential? The line between therapy and enhancement becomes dangerously thin. In 2018, a scientist in China announced that he had edited the DNA of twin girls before birth. The global reaction was immediate and intense. When governments, bioethicists, and scientific institutions condemned the move, the experiment was widely criticized as premature and unethical. Because once germline DNA is changed, it cannot be recalled. There is no reset button. If an unintended mutation appears generations later, it is embedded in the human lineage. The risk isn't temporary, it's permanent. Many countries have since banned or tightly restricted human germline editing. Research continues in controlled laboratory settings, but reproductive applications remain heavily regulated or illegal in most of the world. The debate is not about whether the technology works. It's about whether humanity is ready to decide what future humans should look like. Editing genes is no longer the challenge. Restraint is, because some advances aren't dangerous in the present. They're dangerous in the future, too advanced to reverse. Number 3. CRISPR gene editing restrictions. In 2012, a scientific tool was introduced that made rewriting DNA faster, cheaper, and more precise than ever before. It was called CRISPR, and it changed everything. CRISPR works like molecular scissors. Scientists can locate a specific sequence in DNA, cut it, remove it, and even insert new genetic material. What once took years of expensive laboratory work could now be done in weeks. At first, it was revolutionary for medicine. Researchers used it to study cancer, develop treatments, and potentially cure inherited disorders. The promise was extraordinary. Sickle cell disease, muscular dystrophy, even certain forms of blindness could someday be corrected at the genetic level. But the same precision that allows healing also allows alteration. CRISPR doesn't distinguish between curing illness and enhancing traits. It can edit embryos. It can modify animals. It can alter crops. The technology is flexible. And that flexibility is what alarms governments and ethicists worldwide. After the 2018 announcement that human embryos had been edited to resist HIV, global backlash intensified. Many countries moved quickly to strengthen restrictions. Some banned human embryo editing outright. Others limited research strictly to laboratory conditions without implantation. The concern isn't just about safety, it's about speed. Science advanced faster than law, faster than global agreement, faster than society's ability to define moral boundaries. CRISPR made genetic editing accessible in ways that previous generations never imagined possible. Once knowledge spreads, it cannot be contained easily. That is why CRISPR is heavily regulated, monitored, and debated across international forums. The technology itself isn't banned everywhere, but its use is tightly controlled. Because the question isn't whether we can edit life, it's whether we should. When science moves faster than ethics, restriction becomes inevitable. Too powerful to ignore. Too flexible to leave unchecked. Number 4. Autonomous weapon systems. For most of history, a human being made the final decision to pull the trigger. Autonomous weapons challenge that rule. These are systems powered by artificial intelligence that can identify, select, and engage targets without direct human control. It's once activated, they can track movement, analyze patterns, and fire, all based on algorithms. No hesitation, no emotion, no mercy. Supporters argue that autonomous weapons could reduce casualties among soldiers. Machines don't panic. They don't act out of revenge. They follow programmed parameters. In theory, they could make warfare more precise. But the danger lies in delegation. When a machine makes a lethal decision, who is responsible? The programmer, the commander, the manufacturer. Accountability becomes blurred. And if the algorithm makes a mistake, misidentifies a civilian, misreads a movement, the damage is irreversible. Unlike nuclear weapons, which are tightly controlled and visibly catastrophic, autonomous systems could operate quietly. Swarms of drones, automated turrets. It's AI-guided targeting systems operating at speeds no human could match. The speed is the problem. AI reacts in milliseconds. Human oversight cannot always keep up. Once deployed, escalation can occur faster than diplomacy. Because of these concerns, international debates have intensified. Some countries call for a complete ban on fully autonomous lethal systems. Others push for strict regulations requiring meaningful human control. The technology already exists in partial forms, and development continues. Autonomous weapons weren't restricted because they were fiction. They were restricted because they were real, and advancing quickly. For the first time, warfare could shift from human judgment to machine calculation. And when machines calculate life and death, the margin for error becomes terrifyingly small. Too advanced to fully trust, yet too dangerous to leave unregulated. Number 5. Facial recognition systems. Every time you walk past a camera, your face can become data. Not just an image, an identity. Facial recognition technology uses artificial intelligence to map and analyze unique facial features. The distance between your eyes, the shape of your jaw, the curve of your cheekbones. Within seconds, it can match that data against massive databases. It doesn't ask permission. It doesn't announce itself. It just scans. Supporters argue that facial recognition improves security. It can identify suspects, locate missing persons, and prevent fraud. Airports, law enforcement agencies, and private companies have all adopted versions of it. But the same system that finds criminals can track ordinary citizens. In several cities around the world, governments have banned or restricted facial recognition used by police due to privacy concerns. Critics warn that constant surveillance erodes civil liberties. When every movement can be logged and analyzed, anonymity disappears. There's also the issue of bias. Studies have shown that some facial recognition systems perform less accurately on certain ethnic groups and women, increasing the risk of wrongful identification. A flawed match can lead to arrest, investigation, or worse. Unlike physical checkpoints, facial recognition operates silently in the background. You may never know when it's active. That invisibility is what makes it powerful and controversial. Technology moved faster than regulation. Before laws could define limits, systems were already deployed. Facial recognition wasn't banned everywhere, but it was restricted in key regions because of what it represents, not just innovation, control, the ability to identify anyone, anywhere, in real time. Security and surveillance now share the same tool, and once widespread facial tracking becomes normal, reversing it becomes nearly impossible. Too powerful for comfort, too invasive to leave unchecked. Number 6. The Clipper chip. What happens when the government offers to protect your privacy, but insists on keeping a spare key? In the early 1990s, as digital communication began expanding rapidly, the US government proposed a device called the Clipper chip. It was designed to provide strong encryption for phone calls, protecting conversations from criminals and foreign surveillance. On the surface, it sounded responsible. Secure communication for everyone. But there was a condition. The Clipper chip included a built-in backdoor. Law enforcement agencies would hold special escrowed keys, allowing them to decrypt conversations if legally authorized. Officials argued this balanced national security with personal privacy. Critics saw something else, a master key. Security experts warned that any encryption system with a backdoor is inherently weaker. If a key exists, it can be stolen, leaked, or abused. Hackers, foreign governments, or corrupt insiders could exploit it. The very feature designed to provide oversight could become a vulnerability. The backlash was immediate and intense. Technologists, civil liberties organizations, and privacy advocates pushed back publicly. They argued that encryption must be absolute to be effective. Trust in digital systems depends on the certainty that no hidden access exists. Researchers eventually demonstrated flaws in the Clipper chip's design. Confidence eroded further. By the late 1990s, the project was effectively abandoned. But the debate never ended. To this day, governments continue discussing lawful access to encrypted messaging platforms. The core tension remains the same. How much privacy should individuals have in a digital world? The Clipper chip wasn't banned because encryption was dangerous. It was resisted because centralized access was. The invention promised safety, but it required surrender. And once a master key exists, privacy is no longer guaranteed. Too powerful for personal freedom. Too risky to fully trust.